Hello all and welcome to the course in digital marketing. My name is Johanna, or Jonna as I'm usually called, I'm the teacher of this course. You can find my information here, teacher's contact information, so you see here's the name and the telephone number, and the fastest way to reach me is by email, or even though it's a little bit old-fashioned, but lots of work-related things go through email, so it's the fastest way to reach. Of course, you can then also try these social media channels if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about me, or if you want to reach me. So I'm quite active in social media as well. So here you find my information. Then there's the course description and materials, the next one. And here's learning objectives and contents and so on. So the idea is to learn about the digital marketing. So what is digital marketing? Why is it important? What kind of parts we have or elements we have there, and what we should know when we plan it in a company and so on. So very, in a way, basic things, very essential in today's working life. Then there is something which is called learning materials, and I wrote here to support given information. In lessons you get lots of information already and links also, but here's also a list of tools, list of materials that you can read if you want to. So this is more like the background material, and if you find a good link, good source yourself, so feel free to use it. There isn't any book to read. I'm not really fond of books, especially if we are talking about e-marketing or e-business, because usually when books come out they are 2 or 3 years old, and in this business changes are so fast that they are old in most cases. Then there is the assessment criteria, and in order to somehow separate those who just want to pass the course and then those who are a little bit more ambitious for their grades. So there are 3 different ways of doing this course. The first one is for grade 1. There is something which is called lessons, which you have to pass. It means that you've got to have 100% correct answers in those, after which you should at least give 1 comment in 1 discussion forum. Then in the end there is something which is called test yourself, and test yourself is usually quite easy if you have done these lessons correctly and properly, because most of the questions in test yourself come from the lessons. And then of course there is something which is called self-evaluation and feedback, where I want to hear what you have learned during this course, what was good, what was bad, what you could have done better, what I could have done better, and so on. So that's the idea. I know that Haaga-Helia has its own evaluation form, but this is for a little bit deeper analysis of your own learning. Something which I have found really good in my previous courses. Then for grades 2 and 3, of course, there is everything which is mentioned in grade 1, but then there is something which is called assignments, which are more like fill in the blank type of questions. Not exactly, but in a way they aren't very wide questions, they aren't reports, but questions that should give you a little bit deeper understanding of the topic that we have discussed. And also I want you to give at least 1 comment in 3 forums instead of just 1 comment in 1 forum. And for grades 4 and 5, the same things as in grade 1 and grade 2 and 3, but then there is something which is called digital marketing plan, and for a real company, because it gives you a little bit more perspective to the things. If you find it impossible to find a real company, no worries, we can discuss this one also, but usually it's a little bit better to do it for the real company. And then of course the discussion forums, I want you to participate and contribute to all of them for grades 4 and 5. And that's the assessment. Then to show you what does it mean, these lessons and assignments and so on, so we'll go a little bit further down, something which is called course tasks. You can find them on the left as well, but since there are some problems with links and so on, so I prefer this scrolling part. So here's the first assignment of first topic, digital business definition and trends, and the deadline for this is the 4th of November by midnight. There is this lesson for grade 1, and I don't know if you have used lessons or not, but the idea is that there is something which is, there are pages and then there are questions. So for instance, here's a video which I do expect you to watch and learn, and then once you have watched it, you click K1 to start with, and you see there's a quiz question, and then once you click it, you get an idea that okay, I got 1 point out of 1 point at the moment. Then there's something else, and then you go again to the questions and so on. So that's the idea, and it tells you, you see that you have finished 11% of this first lesson at the moment. So this is the way of doing it. And the idea is that you've got to get 100% correct these quiz questions. They come from these parts, these theoretical parts. They aren't really theoretical, they are more like the information of the topic parts here. So let's go back here to the course tasks. So lessons, and there should be underneath all of these green topics, there should be a lesson. So what you should know when you start planning digital marketing, how to get that information, it will come a lesson here. To channels, platforms and tools in digital marketing, you will find a lesson there by the end of the week, and also planning online marketing, there will be a lesson here as well. So these 3 are under construction still, but they will show up there. So this is, as mentioned here as well, lessons for grade 1. But for grade 1, I also expect you to give comment to one of these discussion forum parts. They are called discussion forums. So, and you see, it's about what you have learned, what was new, what was surprising, and so on. So I want to hear that sort of things. These discussion forums are for peer analysis. So even though I want you to do those, I try to stay away from these discussion forums. We'll see if I can keep myself away, because usually there are so good questions, so good comments that, you know, I just have to give my contribution as well there and my ideas. But there will be this sort of discussion forum in the end of all these parts. And that's also that one comment to one discussion forum for those who aim for grade 1. Those who aim for grade 2 and 3, there is this assignment. And you see that there is something you should find, a company or an example or something like that. And you can do a blog, a video, a PowerPoint, Prezi, emails, whatever you want to. So it doesn't have to be a report here in these assignments. Just want you to deepen the understanding, a little bit more analysis of the topics that we have discussed in lessons. But the deadline is the same as for lessons. And that's what happens in the next one. The deadline for customers online is the 11th of November. So every week there will be something you see here, and the rest will show up once they are finished. And that's what's grade 2 and 3, assignments, discussion forum and lessons. Those who aim for grades 4 and 5, there is something which is called the digital marketing plan, and the final plan is here, instructions. So here you should use the report form with Haaga-Helia thesis template and proper referencing. But the good thing here is that all the assignments that you've done earlier, you can use the information from those in this assignment, so you don't have to invent the wheel all over again. So don't worry, it's not so tough as it looks like. But this is the something that is for these higher grades. If you want to have feedback for your final marketing plan, so there is something which is called the first draft, also something that I have found a good way to do it. So you can submit a week earlier than is the deadline for the final version. So submit it here and I will give you comments and ideas of corrections or revisions to your report before the deadline for this one. And then the last box is the test yourself and self-evaluation. So test yourself is still missing because, as I told you, most of the questions will come from the lessons, and since the lessons are unfinished, so the test yourself is still unfinished, but it will show up here. But there is self-evaluation and feedback, and this is the learning diary form, where I just want to hear your own thoughts, that what was new, because it's not only if it was good course or bad course, but I want to hear what you learned and what could have learned more and so on, so I can also evolve this course. Is there something else I should be saying? Yes. Assignments. If you think, when I give you feedback for assignments, and if you think that okay, the grade was not so good, you have always the possibility to revise the report. If I didn't mention it earlier, so you have always that. So send the revised report directly to my email, and that's always the possibility. I try to remind you of that as well later on. But that's the course. If you have questions, please feel free to ask, either in course chat or then send an email. So I try to answer the questions. And if there are lots of questions of the same topic, so I put them to the news as well. So in the news, you find the latest information if there are changes or something like that. And these messages should come to your emails directly as well. Well, I don't have anything else to say. Hopefully you have a good course and learn a lot. See you. Bye bye.